I know what you're thinking. Didn't you say you were not going to do tags for a while, and yet here you are just 2 weeks after that doing a tag? And the answer is yes, my hypocrisy knows no limits. I was tagged by Kari from the channel Very Literary Kari to do her original JFK tag, and I just couldn't resist. In part because she has a great channel, and you know, us booktubers with southern sounding accents have to kind of stick together. So I'm going to do the JFK tag, a really creative, I think, original tag involving Kari's favorite subject, which is John F. Kennedy and his presidency and all the things surrounding Kennedy. So let me go through the questions, which I have here on my phone, and provide the answers. Let's see. Question 1, Tenuvus and one more. Rose and Joe Sr. Had a boat called Tenuvus to signify the 10 members of the Kennedy clan. With the birth of Ted, the family named another boat One More. What book with a large cast of characters would you recommend? I just saw Jay Shea do his review of Tommy Orange's novel, There. This was kind of a booktube darling a couple of years ago, I think. And it involves a cast of about 12 characters who are all First Nations people living in and around Oakland, California, and they'll all come together to big powwow. They are from very diverse backgrounds and have different life experiences and kind of come together in an interesting way. I think one of the, I don't think this is a perfect novel. If you watch Jay Shea's review, and I'll leave a link to his video where he reviews this down below, you know it's not perfect, but I thought it was very ambitious and pretty well done, and just a really good book, and I would definitely recommend it anytime. So prompt number 2, or question number 2 is, PT109, what is your favorite book featuring a harrowing survival, rescue, or a war story? So that book would be Through the Wheat by Thomas Boyd, my favorite World War I, American World War I novel, which I've talked about on my channel many times, but it is a unique and important book in that Boyd himself was a Marine during World War I. He saw a tremendous amount of combat, and then he essentially wrote a book, a novel about, based largely on his own experiences, which, while not having a purely anti-war message, it definitely has a war is a horrible thing message. Anyway, well worth reading. Prompt number 3, Addison's disease, which John F. Kennedy suffered from. What is your favorite book that deals with disease or the medical field? So I'm going to go with, I was surprised to find I don't read a whole lot of books about disease or medicine or hospitals or doctors, so I kind of went a little bit off topic, I think. And I'm going to say the Patrick Melrose novels by Edward St. Aubin, which essentially deal with the disease of addiction, but also the psychological impacts of sexual abuse of a child, and kind of just desperation, and a whole lot of stuff is in those novels. And they are beautifully written and painfully funny. It's hard to find a book, I think, or think of a book that better kind of combines just outright funny stuff with a true sense of pain and desperation than these books. So I would definitely recommend those. So question 4, what real or imagined dynasty would you like to read more about? I'm not sure I would call it, it's not a dynasty because it involved more than one dynastic family, but I'm really interested in essentially the English monarchy between and including Alfred the Great all the way up to about Henry V. That's probably where my knowledge of the English monarchy is lacking the most, so that would be where I'm most interested. Prompt 6, we choose to go to the moon. So the prompt is, name the last book you read that was set in space. I don't read a lot of science fiction, and when I looked at the last science fiction I read, which was The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin, it really wasn't set in space. So I went with a nonfiction book, and that is The End of Everything by Katie Mack, which essentially explores kind kind of all the theories and ideas about how the universe will come to an end. And so I'm going to call that Set in Space, because there's a good deal about, the universe and galaxies, etc. So I'm going to count that. Prompt 7. Coconut. The coconut shell JFK carved a rescue message on during the PT-109 incident was encased in plastic and used as a paperweight at the Oval Office. Do you have any neat desk items or mementos? I don't know how neat they are. My desk is covered with stuff that I can just pick up and play with. There is a signed baseball from an Astros game. I have no idea who the signatures are on there but I oftentimes hold this while I'm making videos or working at my desk. I have, look at my bald spot. I have 3 hockey pucks. I used to be a big hockey fan in college, and I went to a few hockey games, Chicago Blackhawks, St. Louis Blues, and I have a Dallas Stars puck. I also have a Detroit Red Wing puck somewhere, which I don't know where it is right now. It's not on my desk. I have a Shrek doll that I don't know where it came from, but I like to play with Shrek when I'm working. And I have a chipped mug, which I can't drink out of anymore, from the Art Institute of Chicago, which I visited a couple of times, and it was really the first really big museum that I ever went to. So there you go. There are my desk items. I don't know how neat those are, but there they are. Number 8, scandal. What personal or political scandal would you like to read more about? I'm just not a scandal person. I was trying really hard to think of a scandal that I want to know more about, and there really aren't any. And this will kind of probably also kind of be reflected in my answer to the question for Prompt 10. Prompt 9, Peace Corps, what book made you a better person? I've mentioned this book several times, but this is my Penguin Classics edition of the Upanishads, which just has a selection from the kind of sacred Hindu text called the Upanishads, or the Upanishads, depending on where you're from and what accent you have. This is a well-worn copy for me, which I have written in and underlined and tabbed. I read this book probably was in about my mid-20s, and I've gone back to it many, many times. I'm certainly not a member of the Hindu religion or have that kind of faith, but I think it probably did more to make me self-reflective and to think about myself and what I was doing in my own actions and how they affected others. I fail to live up to the standards there all the time. I don't always walk that razor's edge between doing the right thing and the wrong thing. But it is a book that inspired me, and hopefully, if I became a better person, I think that would be one book that's somewhat responsible. And then Prop 10, Conspiracy, what are your thoughts on the Kennedy assassination? So get ready for disappointment and or controversy. Here are my thoughts about the Kennedy assassination. Lee Harvey Oswald shot and killed President John F. Kennedy in November of 1963. That's my answer. I don't think any of the conspiracy theories are valid. The Kennedy assassination happened, what are we looking at, 67 years ago now? Is that right? No, 57 years ago, sorry. Happened 57 years ago, and in all that time, no other person has come forward or been identified definitively as the shooter. Documents have come out. We've examined and re-examined the Warren Commission and the photos, and I realize some things are still under wraps, but it just seems to me by this time, if I were, somebody would have known something. Okay, well, here's a conspiracy for you. My battery on my camera mysteriously died just as I was about to offer my point of view about conspiracies involving the JFK assassination. I think what I was saying is that essentially it's been a long time, that if somebody was involved other than Lee Harvey Oswald, I think we would know by now. If there was some great big government conspiracy, I think we would know by now. People in government are not notoriously tight-lipped about coming forward with secrets and things like that, and I just think that would have come out. And so what we're left with then is the fact that we know that there was one person in Dallas on that day who fired a gun at the President of the United States, and that was Lee Harvey Oswald. We know that later on he, while essentially kind of hiding out in a movie theater when confronted by a policeman, he shot and killed a policeman, Officer Tippit. Not exactly the behavior of a not guilty person. So all the other mysterious stuff around, I think it's just been, for the most part, people wanting JFK's death to mean more than it seems to mean because of the circumstances which took place, because JFK meant so much to so many people. Anyway, there you go. There's my thoughts on conspiracy theory involving the assassination of John F. Kennedy. This was a really fun tag. Thank you for tagging me, Kari. I'm going to tag 3 people. Heidi from My Reading Life, who loves to read and been embarked on a long presidential biography reading project. I'm going to tag Doris from All the Books, because I think she's the only booktuber I can remember, think of off the top of my head, with a southern accent who was not tagged, and this is kind of southern solidarity for me, I think, for some bizarre reason in my head. And then I'm going to tag Steve Donahue, because Steve says nobody ever tags him, and I know Steve loves a good conspiracy theory, and I can't wait to see his answer to question 10. Anyway, there you go. Thanks again, Kari. I'll leave links to all the channels I mentioned down below, as well as the prompts in the show notes. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.